Welcome to this lesson. In the previous lesson, we examined the JavaScript array art method. The art method was introduced by uh, JavaScript in 2022 in order to cater for the issue of negative indexing, which is supported in many other languages, but that JavaScript does not support. And we're able to see that the art method works the same way like the traditional bracket notation method of accessing the element at the index position in your array. So that uh, you know let us understood why there was need for the art method that was introduced by JavaScript. And when we try to pass in a negative index, JavaScript still undefined because it does not understand what you were trying to do. And the reason why the art method was needed in the language. In this lesson, we talked about another JavaScript method, which is the join method, JavaScript array join method. The join method also join all array elements into a string. It behaves just like toString, but in addition, you can specify the operator. So the method we are going to be talking about in this lesson is more like the toString method, which we have talked about earlier and demonstrated. The difference between this method and the toString method is that when you use toString method, all your elements of your array will be separated by comma. You don't have the flexibility to specify the separator that you want. There are sometimes you might not want comma, you might want something like asterisk, you might want something like pi. So you can want something else. So the join method allows you to specify the separator, but it behaves just like toString. So let's take a look at an example in my code editor. So we are working with JavaScript array join method. The join method works like toString method, but allows you to specify your separator. So in this example, this time around, I want to use something else. I want to use cars as my array. Now, I want this car to be separated with asterisk. So I can do let result equals, I'll pass in the car dot join. I'll pass the method on the car. And what do I want to use as separator? Okay, I want to use asterisk. I can pass it in this way. And then do my the usual document dot get elements. So which will give me the result. And here you can see that each of my elements is separated by asterisk. I can decide to say I don't want asterisk. I want pipe instead, which is this. Now you can see that each of the elements of my array is now separated with pipe, which is why it said that it behaves just like toString. The difference is just that with join method, you can separate your array elements and specify the separator that you want inside of it. So this is how join method works in JavaScript. Let's continue. Now we have popping and pushing. When you work with arrays, it is easy to remove elements and add new elements. When you work with array, there are times that you may need to add new elements and there are times that you may need to remove elements. So when you need to do those two actions, what you need is the popping and the pushing method. So popping items out of an array or pushing items into an array. So you can either pop items out of an array. That is, you can either remove items from an array or push items into an array. So the pop method removes the last element from an array, while the pop method returns the value that was popped out. So let's take a look at an example of how each of these works in JavaScript. So right here, we already have an example of the array we would like to use. So I'd like to change the topic to what we are currently working on, JavaScript, pop, and push methods. The pop methods removes the last element from an array. And here is an example. So I already have my array here. And so I can say cars dot pop. So don't forget, the pop method remove the last element of an array. Even before we get this out, what do you think will happen? Which means Ford is expected to be removed from our array. So let's check this out if this works correctly. So let me assign this to something like, let me say, let car singular. So I'll change this. And you can see what was removed. You can see that we've removed the last element from that array, which is Ford. And if we want to now see what we have in our cars array now, let's change this to cars. And now you can see that Ford has been removed. We only have the first three elements. The last one has been popped out. So this is how the pop method works in Java, in working with arrays in JavaScript. It will remove the last element of an array. So it will, you know, returns the value that was popped out. So it pops out, which means it removes. And then the next one, which we need to talk about, is the push. You can use the push item to push items into an array. So the opposite of this is push. So let's say I have something like egg here. You can see that now egg has been added. So you use pop to remove elements from your array, and you use push, add last element to an array. So you use the push method to add the elements back. So you use the pop to remove elements, you use the push to add elements into your array. So this is how the pop and the push methods works in JavaScript. Thank you. Don't forget to practice. I'll see you in the next